And we're back with one of the most anticipated movies of the year, Spider-Man No Way Home. This episode's brought to you by rantonreviews.com. Yeah, we have a website now. Check it out if you want. Anyway, Spider-Man. Boy, was there a lot of hype for this one. I'm going to attempt to do this video spoiler-free. In fact, I did my best to go into this movie spoiler-free. It didn't happen. I was aware of a few theories and expectations, got kind of excited about a few of them, and then once leaks started coming up, promptly decided to stay as removed as possible, and yikes, was that tough. In the last year, if any algorithm in your life has heard mention of spiders, men, or the letters M, C, and U in no particular order, you've probably been bashed over the head with expectations from every which way. And I was in there to some extent. I was pretty excited. I wanted to see what they were going to do, and if I'm honest, I was losing interest in the MCU. Not disliking it, but definitely feeling oversaturated by it. As I've mentioned before, there's an awful lot of superhero movies being released every year, and 2021 was no exception. It's a lot, and it's hard to keep up a certain level of interest and investment, which is why this is so impressive. Not just a movie about the best superhero ever, fight me on this, I dare you, but the promise of something more than just another entry. Something that goes into uncharted territory, or even reminds us that that's even possible with this much regularly released content. The trailers alone show that certain villains are making an appearance that were formerly exclusive to the Sony Spider-Man movies. These universes blending together is something that until now fans only have mused and fantasized about. I imagine many of you haven't seen it yet, so I won't elaborate any further, but when it comes to a fresh approach, this movie delivers. I recommend seeing it sooner than later. If you haven't seen it opening night or at least opening weekend, I wish you well in avoiding reveals online. And with that said, the bad and the ugly. The action scenes and visuals are impressive, some Doctor Strange moments are particularly cool, but otherwise, ultimately, we've seen computer augmented or generated figures do extraordinary things before, big deal. They don't overstay their welcome, so it's cool. It's more just expected content at this point than the reason to go see the movie. The heart of this film is in moments between characters, some of which people have wanted for years, but I'll get into that more later. The real problem, if there is one, is the exposition. This movie is absolutely drenched in exposition. People explaining things about themselves or the people they're standing next to in the most forced, inorganic, I'm doing this for the viewers at home way possible. Guys, if people want to know how Electro became Electro, they either already know or don't care enough to find out. At least not to the point of stopping the film to tell everyone. And it doesn't just happen once, it's ribboned throughout the entire first half of the movie. It sometimes feels like a constant onslaught, and it felt like such a bloated and unnecessary addition to a movie that clocks in at 2 hours and 28 minutes. But that's it really. There are a few opportunities that, although not missed, they may not be fully capitalized on, and a few jokes might fall flat at the beginning, but if I've got a criticism, it's mostly the exposition. The good. A common criticism of Spider-Man 3 is the crowded feeling created by trying to shoehorn in way too many characters, plot lines, what have you. I was cautiously optimistic that this movie wouldn't suffer from the same issue, and I'll be honest, some scenes get kinda close, but for the most part, things stay afloat surprisingly well. Far better than that, though, is the emotional weight of the movie. Don't be surprised if you're fighting back tears on more than one occasion. When they get character, dialogue, and chemistry right, they really get it right. The stakes are high in a way that doesn't feel like a ripoff, and the lessons learned are definitely not without cost. The plot feels like it has greater weight than a lot of other MCU entries. The world is always about to end, but this time it feels quite a bit closer to home. There are also a number of surprises later in the movie that take their time to simply let the audience enjoy characters spending time together, bantering, and enjoying each other's company. And while it would be easy to overdo it, they don't, and some wonderful moments are there to be enjoyed. It's not perfect. A few moments fall a bit flat, and there were a number of times I rolled my eyes and was really unsure if the movie was going to pull all this off, but considering the monumental task they attempted to complete in one movie, they get it done. The setup takes a little while to find its feet, but once it does, it makes the weaker moments quite forgettable. After 3 movies, this one sits comfortably among its predecessors, with some elements being the best we've seen yet. There are little hints towards what could be in store for the next one, and count me in. I'll probably be looking forward to it more than most of what the MCU is promising over the next few years, and that's probably all I should say at this point. If you can somehow see this one fresh without having it ruined for you, please enjoy. You know what, even if you can't, still worth seeing. And if I was way off and totally missed what made this movie great or awful, let me know in the comments. And if you feel up to it, drop a like or subscribe, and not just for me, any channel you feel like supporting, it really helps a lot. I love you guys, we'll talk soon. I mean, it's been over a year, so I guess soon is sort of a relative.